the key to having an upper hand in understanding the world, business, your life, whatever you want to apply these human psychology techniques to. He says one of the keys to this is understanding that most people are operating in their own relativistic bubble. Yes, he actually goes into basic philosophy as this former multi-year CIA operative. And he starts talking about epistemology and philosophy. Yes, you heard me right. What? Why? It seems like what you talk about. Well, yeah, because exactly a lot of what I talk about is spot on. Now, he doesn't use a lot of fancy philosophical jargon because he's trying to break this down for normies and, the average person out there who doesn't know anything about philosophy and is not really educated. And the way he breaks it down, instead of talking about relativism and objectivism, he says, I'm going to use the term of perception versus perspective. And these are just kind of ambiguous terms that he's giving his own distinctions and weight to. And by perspective, he says, by perception, he says, that's the subjective element. He says most people live their whole lives in a cage, in a box of pure relativism and subjectivism. That makes them creatures of emotion. They operate on the basis of emotion. They react on the basis of emotion. If you're involved in, for example, crypto, Bitcoin, all that kind of stuff, or maybe even stonks, you probably have noticed that sometimes you're tempted. You see Bitcoin going down. Oh, I better dump it. I'm going to lose all my money. That's reacting on the basis of emotion. And Bustamante says in this interview that to make fart noises with your hand when you start getting nervous. No, he doesn't say that. I'm just joking. He says that the key to being effective in not just the espionage stuff, but in anything, is to have control of your emotions, not react on the basis of emotions, but to be cool and react on the basis of objective logic as far as you can get to it. Okay, we're never going to have a perfectly logical and objective approach to things. But what we want to try to do is get the objective view, which gets us out of the prison of a purely subjective perception. That is no different than saying what philosophers say when they say that relativism is a prison and is self-refuting. It's everything you hear me saying. This is just a CIA operative putting it in another language, in another series of terminology to express the same point. Real world versus fantasy. Most people live in a fantasy. Most people are living in the idea that their mental ideas of the world are reality. So they think that they're a furry. They think that they're this or that. They believe that Bobo is out to help them and the big pharma companies love them and all the normie stuff. Or whatever their perspective, their subjective perspective. But most of the time, these people, 99% of the time, are wrong. And they make poor decisions. They don't invest their money. They don't think long term. They don't think logically. They don't think rationally. They think like NPC bots, cogs in the system. Bustamante says this in this interview. The key to being successful in any endeavor is to not operate on the basis of emotion. Now, again, think about this. This applies across the board to anything you're involved in. This applies to figuring out how to get a date. If you're a guy and you're a beta and you're a prisoner to your emotions and you react emotionally to when a girl disses you or turns you down, you are not going to be successful in finding a date, getting a girl's phone number, whatever. You will fail. So you have to have some level of mastery of your emotions, some level of self-control to handle even something as basic as that, which people nowadays can't do. They don't even know how to do this. They can't figure this out. If you're investing your money, you're going to have self-control, not act crazy on the basis of emotion when your stonks and your Bitcoin go down. Well, I better dump my Bitcoin.